Okay, so let's go on. Talk about Acolyte.
Let's see. Leslie.
Oh, yeah. Produced by Leslie Headland.
Mm.
And where do we get started on this? Okay, so basically the gist of the story is it's canceled. That's what we need to know is the gist of the story is the series is canceled by Disney after one season because it got a lot of bad press. And I'm going to tell you, for one, as a guy that is a Star Wars nerd, this year, first year, I'm a level one Star Wars nerd. And it's how do I even get started on this? Is again, but it's like, okay, so it got poo-pooed by a lot of people, a lot of critics avoiding whatever for very logical reasons. But I will say, and this is before we get too in-depth and talk about it, is it was not, to me, in my opinion, it was not bad enough to cancel it. I think this is one of those, like Netflix did, where they got antsy, people talking negative about a show. Oh, well, sack it, move on to the next one, collect the tax write-off. Before, instead of like, hey, maybe we can make it better. Hey, maybe we can, do this and that or whatever. I mean, like if we're going to talk about, what was it? Winona Earp. Or is that the TV series Winona Earp? Do you know how many series, like how many seasons that went on? And I, for one, had, disagree with it, but it wasn't bad enough to make it still go. What I'm trying to say is Acolyte
Yes,
could have kept going.
yes. Hold on. I, for one, loved Winona Earp, and fans brought Winona Earp back.
Yes, they did. I need to
However,
watch. I need to watch more episodes of it. I had disagreements with season one, but I went on to other things because I only have so much time in my life. But
okay, fine, whatever. I have more time apparently. But
well,
okay,
also my family has disagreements with the Earps. It's a history thing. It means nothing to anybody else, but it means a lot in my family. Anyway,
okay,
um,
fine.
yeah.
But back to the Acolyte. Okay, so
Yes.
here's the thing. You asked what was good about
Hmm.
it.
Okay.
What a lot. What? Okay, hold on.
Yeah.
When people weren't shitty on it,
Yes.
what a lot of people watching it, the people that did watch it, seemed to like about it. Number one was the lightsaber fights.
Hmm.
They said that is some of the best lightsaber fights that they've seen.
Oh, it's really good.
Yeah. And what was the second, you know, now I'm drawing a blank of what the second.
I could probably tell you. I could probably tell you.
What
It was every other character in the show minus the main character. Um, was, and this is no offense to Amanda Stenberg, who played the main character. It was nothing against her. She did a wonderful job. It was, however, with the writing screwed up, and they made every other character way more interesting, and you did not get to dive anywhere near deeper than you wanted to, because they either died or they moved on and did nothing else. And then you were just with this one character where it seems like everything happened around them. They didn't really cause anything. They didn't start anything. It just seems like everything revolved around them, and you never got enough of it. It just kept spinning around, spinning around. And me as a viewer, I'm like, oh, I want to know more of that character. I want to know more of that storyline. You didn't get it. It
and
just focused on this one main character and this one main storyline that we already knew everything about it. We knew like even if like the little tidbit that they brought in at the season finale was like, okay, yeah, we figured something like that probably happened, but it's also we didn't care enough. I wanted more of the other things that we didn't get to.
right. And in addition to the writing being very poor, being something to left
Yep.
to one's desire, apparently a lot of people felt, a lot of the audience felt that the pacing was off. It
It
was
was.
dragged on.
It dragged where it didn't need to drag. It skimmed over where it didn't need to skim over. It just seemed like it just couldn't find the focus. You ever like play a video game and then like the auto target seems to be way off. You're like, I'm not targeting the box. I'm targeting the thing coming at me. It's one of those things where I'm like, why am I focusing on this? That's way more interesting. Give me that.
But the thing is, what I find absolutely funny, and not funny in a good way, was that I was reading all of the not the critics, but I was reading all of the articles and the social media posts talking about how the show does not deserve the $180 million that it's receiving to be made. How However, there were actually people out there who enjoyed it and who
Hmm.
liked it and who wanted a season two and who were disappointed that it was canceled when it was. And
Hmm.
it's just like, really? So all of that, the YouTube videos, we watched one together, the Reddit
We did.
posts, the Facebook posts, the X post, like all of that, all of a sudden, like that wasn't to be believed. That whole shitstorm of it sucks, and now you guys like it. Where were you when it was receiving all of that negative press during the first 2, 3, 4 episodes?
Yeah, why is there such a juxtaposition of critics loved it, fans hated it, but then what you hear now is that critics are now poo-pooing it, but then some fans are screaming its praises. And it just seems to be all over the place. Like, and I mean, I'm looking right now, just on Google, just Google Acolyte, and you'll see IMDb 4.1, Rotten Tomatoes 78, on Google ratings 2.2. It just seems to be all over the place of who the hell are these people? Where are these critics? Where are these reviews and critics? It seems to be they're like, you can't trust IMDb's ratings, you can't trust Rotten Tomatoes ratings, whatever. It seems like you just have to make up your own opinion nowadays because we don't know where all this is. And again, we've had our problems with Rotten Tomatoes before, haven't we? Where it just seems to be like they're not no longer trusted anymore because it seems like a lot of bots are putting in reviews and opinions on things. And again, we're also getting into that world where it's 1 star or 5 star, no in betweens or anything. No, like, oh, this was good, there's room for improvement, but da da da, whatever. Like, there's none of that discord. It just seems to be fucking love it, fucking hate it. Like, that's it. That's their only options.
And wait, and God forbid somebody actually watch something for themselves and decide if they like it, because a lot of people are just going to read the reviews first, and
Yeah.
they may or may not take a risk on watching it or investing the time to watch it or buying the Disney Plus subscription to watch it based on those reviews. But it's just like it just seems
Or and then
they,
sometimes we have to, that's always been the problem is, oh, Disney's calling. They want you to write a review for this movie. Well, I want to be in Disney's good graces. I would like them to call me again. So, yay, I absolutely love this Disney. Absolute 5 stars, absolutely recommended. Thank you, please, and thank you.
was that the motivation behind a lot of these critic reviews? Probably. Let's just
Can
be
never
real.
say it isn't.
Hold on. But the maelstrom of piling on when
Hmm.
this show first came out, was it warranted? No. I mean, obviously, there were things that were flawed about the show, but it picked up enough for the last 3 episodes, like I predicted, by the way, for people to like it and watch it. And the one thing that everyone has always agreed upon, even when the first half of it was a very slow start, was that the action was off the charts fantastic.
Yes, made it worth it.
However, so it's just like where do we find some levity? You know,
Well,
where,
uh,
why couldn't we hear the voices that were saying it wasn't so bad then, as
yeah.
clearly as we hear them now?
Well, and then it's suffered a lot of problems of where, yes, honestly, you could redo the whole damn thing and you wouldn't miss a damn thing. But it's like you let's be honest here. Again, it reminds me of, and I'm gonna do this because this is the way I feel about the TV show. Just the New Girl. You ever watched like the TV series Just the New Girl? It was a network TV. It was on for multiple seasons.
Doesn't sound like it's my style.
With Zoe Deschanel. Zoe Deschanel was just the New
Definitely
Girl.
not.
Okay.
You know,
To me, my opinion on that show is I could care less about the character of Jess. No offense to Zoe Deschanel, but she just never popped on screen. Her dialogue was flat. She seemed it just seems like, oh, I'm just a quirky girl with pretty eyes, and that was just basically her whole shtick. And every other character in that show made it worth watching. It just glued it all together, and that's the vibes that I got from Acolyte. Nothing, like I said, nothing against Amanda Stenberg. I loved her, but her playing the main character and her twin sister or whatever, she was not given the right dialogue, the right chance, the right character development to actually be interesting. But she's surrounded by way more interesting people and really good actors too. But then because of the writing, you don't get the focus on that. You don't get expanded on that. It's the same thing with a lot of the Star Wars prequels of like, okay, cool, like New Hope and Empire and all that revolves around Luke Skywalker. Cool, that makes sense. Like the story's being driven through him. Love it. The prequel of going through Anakin was, did we need all of this? Driven through this kid going through an awkward teenage years. Do we need this? You know, where other thing could, is there other way we could have told this story minus that main character, and maybe he could have been a side character and we focused on other characters more. That's the vibe you could have gotten from Acolyte of Lee Jung Jae, wonderful. Every time he was on screen, I'm like, hell yes, what's up, Lee Jung Jae? What's going on? What are we doing? He played the character of Saul. I loved him, but you didn't get enough of Saul because he seemed to be stuck on this one storyline with this one character, and he didn't seem to get a chance to expand. It was Charlie Bana who played Yord Vandar or whatever. He's a young kid, young Jedi, whatever, and he's there. He's on her side. He's on Osha's side because she's young and they're young and seem like they have a past, but he's got his own thing. He's shoved to the side. It just what's it, Elizabeth Moss? No, Carrie Ann Moss. Sorry, Carrie Ann Moss. She was wonderful. She's in there for about 3 minutes total, and her character was fascinating. And you wanted more of her. You didn't get any of that. You just got her put to the side, and everything's driven through Osha, the main character, who, no offense to her, was wooden. The character didn't get a chance to be told or expand or have opinions or do her whole life in between being a Jedi and not being a Jedi. What happened there? I want to know. Don't get any of it.
It's general consensus that the writing was pure shit.
Yeah.
However, two things I agree with you on, other than the writing being shit. When we first when we first did a review of this, you basically said that Leslie Headland wasn't wrong in the spin that she tried to take on the this Star Wars premise. And a lot of people, well, a lot of critics actually agreed with that. Now, we don't know if their motivations behind agreeing with that was, I want to be in good with Disney based or not. I had to agree with you on that point as well. I feel like, it's an interesting premise that was probably just not executed in an effective, impactful, well, it definitely was impactful, but in a successful way. But I'm wondering though, is like, did the critics see this? The critics that actually reviewed this, did they actually watch it, or did they just get the screeners and are like, okay, we're going to base off of the screeners? Because there's a very few reviews that I read that people actually, like you did, watched it from episodes 1 through 8 and then was able to form an opinion.
Watch the whole thing.
And it's just like, when you said that we can't trust Rotten Tomatoes, and then the fluctuations back and forth between Google reviews and IMDb, it just seems to be all over the place. I just really want to know which one of these people are aiming for jobs with Disney or one of its subsidiaries in order to write these really extremely unbalanced reviews of this show that ends up being canceled after its first season.
Yeah. I don't know. It's hard to say, and you don't know. We're not gonna know what happened with this. And again, like I said before, like I said in the beginning, Acolyte season 1 wasn't so bad that it didn't deserve a second season.
Yeah.
I don't know there's literally only 2 characters left in the entire, from season 1 that would make it to season 2. Another problem you did was you got rid of all your interesting people. I don't know why you decided to do that, but all the cool characters you loved, gone. Right. And then although you get, I'm not going to say nothing because I don't want to spoil it for anybody, but again, there was enough in there that I liked it. I enjoyed, because again, going back to Star Wars at its core from 1977, it was fascism and rebels fighting fascism. And what Acolyte was showing was that even in the good times when the Jedi were running everything for a long time, they got lazy, they got corrupt, they got slack, and then mistakes happened, people got hurt, and that opened the door for Sith to come in, the dark forces to come in and start infiltrating people who got hurt by the good guys, and now start turning them towards the bad guys. And that's how fascism grows, is people getting angry at the current system, wanting something different, but then not realizing that the new system they want is the corrupt, evil bad guys. And that's how fascism rises, and that's how the Sith rise. That's literally what the story could have been about, and kind of is, but it just didn't tell it in a way that people universally would have said, there you go, that's Star Wars in a nutshell. And it was the ingredients were there, but instead of a cake, we got a flat, mushy cookie. And again, still edible. I'm not gonna say I wouldn't still eat it, but it just wasn't the magic that that $180 million could have gotten you.
It wasn't the cake that you were promised.
Exactly. It wasn't the one you were promised or what you expected. And again, for $180 million, y'all like, and this is the hot mess that you got out of it. Again, still palatable. I'll still watch it. I enjoyed it. A lot of good stuff in it, but it just didn't work out. And then you're like, again, and I'll always go back to this, Godzilla -1, $10 million budget, and they won 8 Academy Awards in Japan and an Oscar for Best Sci-Fi for $10 million. And you had $180 million, and y'all couldn't pay a second writer? You know, where did the money go? Was it all set design? I mean, I feel like y'all have half of that in the studio because it's Star Wars, you know?
Yeah, no, I mean, okay, so for me, I'm an analytical brain, so I have to like put this in a term I can understand.
Mm-hmm.
It feels like the show suffered from bad writing, bad pacing, and a whole bunch of piling on at the beginning.
Yeah. It got a lot of shit just out of the gate.
Right. Social media piling on from the beginning.
Yeah.
It wasn't really that bad to watch, but we didn't hear those reviews because of the piling on. And then we have the critic reviews from people in the industry. And could anyone really trust their motivation to be like, yeah, they actually, in fact, watched this show and this is their honest opinion of it? Or were they trying to like move on up with what they wrote because Disney is such a massive studio?
Or it's like, hey, jump on this grenade, give me some good reviews, and I'll throw you a bone next time, because that happens in this. That happens all the time.
So, and there was very few poor critic reviews of the show. Very, very few. Like I was scrolling, looking for them, and maybe one out of.
Because again, it wasn't terrible. There's a lot of notes for how it could have been better, but it wasn't unwatchable.
To you.
To me, because I enjoy the elements of it,
To you. And
because I like it. I find something to like about everything. I'm not gonna lie.
And apparently a moderate amount of other people that exist on the internet.
Yeah.
Definitely was not. But there for a while there, it was like this show could do no right with nobody, nowhere.
Yeah. It seemed like, couldn't please anybody enough.
It was bad. I hope Leslie Headland works again. That's all I got.
I hope she does too. I mean, I'd like to see what she can do. And I don't know if they're gonna let her touch Star Wars again. But I don't know. Who's to say? But okay, bottom line, I would say if I was gonna judge Acolyte, if I was gonna rate it, I would rate, let's just say 1 to 10 if I was gonna recommend it for somebody. I would say 6.5. 6.5 is okay. It could have been better, but had the elements and good notes enough that you picked out of that. Like any good storyline has enough that you could pick out, and you're like, yeah, you can expand on that later. You can expand on that later, and I like what they did with that. Cool fight scenes. So yes, watchable, but grain of salt.
Star Wars, this franchise, Leslie Headland, Disney, they all needed you, Jared. They needed you.
You know what? I'm just going to say, Disney, I am here. I'm available. I'm very cheap. I work on anyone's budget. I will be on anything you got, okay? And again, I didn't intend to be this smug Star Wars nerd that I am. It happened this year. I'm new to it, but...
He said level 1, y'all. Level 1.
I'm at level 1. I've seen them all, but it's not till you read the books where you're like, damn, I actually like Star Wars. I get the universe now.
He's level 100. Don't let him fool you. He will talk your ear off about it. We're educating him on Star Trek.
Can and will. Star Trek's next. I need to get in on that one. Okay. So that's Acolyte. It's just going to be talked about forever, and apparently it's dead.
No,
it's now
no,
dead.
it's not going to be talked about forever. People are going to forget about it, and it's only going to be brought up next time when people are like, "Let's talk about what Disney did wrong. Let's talk about the failures of the Star Wars franchise." That's when it's going to be brought up.
No, it's really going to be whenever Andor season 2 gets coming out. That's what's going to happen is when we're going to be like, oh, Acolyte who? It's all and which by the way, I'm sorry, Andor, Ahsoka, Acolyte, all the A names. Andor is going to be talked about most. 100% whenever season 2 comes out, that's going to be the revitalization of Star Wars and Disney. That's where they're going to get the big bucks.
Big old shoes to fill.
And you know what? Lee Jung Jae, I can't wait to see your next movie or your next anything you're in. And Manny Jacinto, loved you. Okay, that's all we got, criticers. What did you think of Acolyte? Those of you that watched it, let us know what you think. Or you know what, those who just read the reviews and didn't watch it and you already have an opinion, let us know. We'd love to hear from you. We'd love to argue with you in the comments. We mean nice things, but sometimes we want to argue, we'll argue. But you know, we're just fans just like you, except we have nice microphones and a little insight knowledge in the industry. But I'm Jared. This is Andrea. We are Critic Box. Stay tuned for the next thing. Like, subscribe, all that jazz. Movies are great. Go watch something.